Joe Adam George is a national security consultant with Macdonald Laurier Institute in Ottawa. He's in Toronto today, and he joins me right now because so many of the people who watch this show know about Islamist extremism in Canada. You see it, you read it, and it's usually way down in the line of interest because it's not in the interest of the government to allow that information out. But it's bigger than we think, isn't it?
Absolutely. You can tell that by the kind of anti-Semitism that you're seeing play out on the streets. The violence we saw last night against the Jewish schools.
Right.
And
almost every night,
yes,
somebody's shooting at schools.
It's become the norm. So it is a sign that Islamist extremism is very active. In fact, October 7th gave them that valve to just let it out. And which is why you're seeing a lot of these people, especially new immigrants, who harbor such strong feelings against Jews and other minority groups like the LGBT community and Christians and so on, talk about. Now, people assume that when you talk about Islamist extremism, it's about bombs, guns, and beheadings. That's not necessarily...
It's not just that.
Yeah, it's just not that.
Tell me what else it is.
It's also about, they try and gain legitimacy. Now they do that similar to how the Chinese use Confucius institutes to try and push their CCP, the Chinese Communist Party propaganda.
Right.
So in the same way, they try and push it through things like your anti-Palestinian racism. They use the colonial narrative that the left pushes to try and delegitimize our institutions, to try and push their propaganda as well. Islamophobia is one other vehicle that they use. You can see Qatar do that. There was a recent report that showed how Qatar is funneling millions of dollars into American institutions to legitimize Islamism. So I wouldn't be surprised that the same thing is happening here in Canada.
And why are the authorities allowing that? They're not ignorant of it.
No, absolutely. But then it's like everything else with the Trudeau government. If we have politicized diaspora politics takes the cake, right? So for everything, when it comes to policy making, so national security and immigration have taken a backseat. So in the same way, we are turning a blind eye towards Islamist extremism.
And yet, I guess it's all legitimized by the votes where our Minister of Global Affairs said, I know, I was stunned by this, I know who is in my riding and who will be voting for me. So I have to not only just accept it, but I get it.
Exactly, and this is
crazy.
Exactly, and this is not a recent phenomenon. This has been happening again for the past 2 or 3 decades. We have had former CSIS chiefs talk about this.
Yeah.
But this has exponentially grown since the Syrian war in 2014, when we had a mass influx of people from the Middle East come in.
Yeah, and let's just be clear. Not everybody who came in from Syria is a terrorist, but a number of them are, and we don't check.
Absolutely.
Thanks very much. 3 minutes. To those of you who have subscribed and donated, a heartfelt thank you. You're keeping us on the air. If you're watching and you haven't, please try to do so, because 4 years ago we started this show because there needed to be independent analysis. Now more than ever, with the Online Harms Act, once that gets into law, it's been passed once by the House, there are going to be hundreds of bureaucrats censoring the news in Canada, censoring this show. We need to keep it on the air. Thanks for your support.